Is it okay for candidates to evolve on a position over a period of years?
I think it's perfectly acceptable. I think most people need to rethink their positions over time as facts change. But they deserve to explain to the people clearly, which she has failed to do. And it's not just a change in position. These are hard positions on which she has actually taken policy action, both as a vice president, an attorney general, and a U.S. senator. And simply saying she doesn't believe that anymore is not a sufficient explanation on core issues that affect costs for Americans, health care for Americans, taxation for Americans, including taxes on unrealized gains, on which she has not yet changed her position. That, I think, is a devastating economic policy that's among those she needs to explain. And she hasn't done it.
Let my man Vivek cook. I'm going to call him Chef Vivek because he just keep cooking these folks. Hey, look. In the intro, you saw the CNN anchor. Well, you can see she was playing defense for Kamala, as I usually accuse the liberal mainstream media of doing. CNN does lean left, according to news sources like All Sides. And the idea that you can just say, I changed my position and don't have to explain yourself why is a big indictment on the fact that Kamala Harris is the flip-flopper in this election. I know the media is trying to castigate Trump as the flip-flopper. Oh, look what he said on abortion, which we'll get onto in this video. But I want to highlight how Kamala Harris is essentially changing her position on a lot of things to the point where now she doesn't even want to explain. Remember, like this is my argument, right? Kamala Harris recently was asked about her position on reparations, and she doesn't want to give her position. And now people are mocking Kamala Harris for not being explicit about where she at with reparations in 2024. But in 2020, in front of Al Sharpton, she was saying, "Yeah, I'll support reparations." The media doesn't highlight that, right? They instead try to explain away why she changed her positions. Oh, she said she's not for fracking anymore. She stated that in her VP thing. I already debunked that. She did not state that in her VP debate with Mike Pence. She said that Joe Biden wouldn't ban fracking. She didn't say that we won't ban fracking. So this is the thing that Vivek is hinting at, and I think many people are latching onto. Like I said, she has no policy position. That means we can't really hold her accountable for things that she claims she's like positioning herself for. She's keeping herself politically vague. She's keeping her policies very vague, and it's hard to pin her down so that way she has wiggle room to say what she needs to say to pander to people of depending on the crowd. And this is the thing that we're calling out Kamala Harris for. Say what you want about Donald Trump. He has his policies platform on there. You can hold him accountable for this. Hey, you say you're going to do this. Why is this a good thing? Why is this not a bad thing? You can attack Trump. Trump is more easier to attack because there's actually pen on paper on what he believes, but not Kamala Harris. And then the media will play this game. Oh, Trump's having a hard time defining Kamala Harris because she's not standing for anything. Kamala Harris's platform is Trump bad. That's it. That's her only platform. But I digress. Here's Vivek going into more detail about this train of thought that I want to highlight here in this video. Let's take a look.
You brought up some claims about Kamala Harris. I want to finish that discussion. She said she didn't favor a ban on fracking now. The reality is she was one of the strongest proponents of that ban, so much so that when she was in California, she sued the Obama administration over granting fracking permits. She didn't just favor the abolition of private health insurance. She was a co-sponsor of the bill with Bernie Sanders as a U.S. Senator for Medicare for All for Americans. The reality is, when you think about the Green New Deal, she was the chief proponent, not just as a co-sponsor of the legislation, but going further and saying she would end the filibuster in the Senate to ram that through. So the reality is she can say what she wants to say now. Those are actions she has taken. Is someone allowed to evolve? Of course they are. But she deserves to explain exactly why she's changed those positions, exactly what her position is. If it's not a ban on fracking, what exactly is it? What exactly is her health care plan if she no longer favors abolishing private health insurance, which just 4 short years ago when she ran for president, she did? And that's the kind of scrutiny that's been missing. I think Donald Trump has received plenty of scrutiny, and I give credit to him for sitting for hostile interviews that Kamala Harris has not.
And this is why they should. I think after this interview, they won't let Vivek on again. But the way he was able to just attack her, destroy her framing, because she keeps trying to frame things as, oh, she changed her mind. Oh, she said she stated that. And then Vivek will be like, no, I don't agree with how you frame that. That's a mischaracterization of what's happening here. And you're going to see a lot of that here on this interaction that now they're going to talk about Trump and his alleged flip-flopping. And Vivek is going to explain logically and clearly the differences between how Trump changed his positions or not changed his positions, and what Kamala Harris is doing, because Kamala Harris is not really articulating or giving a well thought out explanations for her, like damn near is like she did a 180 because she actually went against the Obama administration to ban fracking. How you go for someone who co-signed a bill to ban fracking with Bernie Sanders? You sue your own party leader for his position on fracking, and in 2024, you're coming out and say you're no longer for fracking. You never stated it with your own mouth that you're against fracking. You just said, "Oh, I said it in my 2020 debate when you're talking about Joe Biden." At the same breath, you said that my values haven't changed. This is the conflicting messaging that a lot of people are not clear on. And just based on this vagueness, Kamala Harris should lose the election. America, I'm just being, because end of the day, when you say, "Oh, I'm voting against Donald Trump," that's not the only thing you're voting for. You're voting for stuff like this. You're voting for political vagueness. You're voting for a leader who doesn't have enough respect for your vote to actually have to explain herself for why she shifts positions. You're going to support someone vague. You don't know what she's going to do. Make it make sense. And then these people are going to get mad when I say that people who vote for Kamala Harris are emotional voters. They're not rational voters. You're going to get mad at me for saying that in a video. But all the proof, all the pudding shows that I'm right on this. My framing is more probable than your framing. But I digress. Enough of my rant. Let's react to her trying to conflate Trump's changing of positions with Kamala Harris. Let's take a look.
Why is he struggling to state a clear position on abortion then?
So again, I respectfully disagree with your characterization there about him struggling to state a position. The truth of the matter is Donald Trump has been crystal clear that, first of all, this is an issue for the states.
And that is an issue that he's going to be voting on in the state of Florida, right?
Well, first of all, in his capacity for running for U.S. president, what he's running for Kamala Harris against, he has been clear that he is against a federal ban on abortion. Now, on the Florida bill, which I want to address as well, there is a difference between being opposed to a 6-week ban, which he's been consistent on, both during the campaign when I ran against him, as well as throughout, that he's against a 6-week ban. That is different than what this ballot measure accomplishes. And I know you know that, Kate. This ballot measure, through its vague crafting, would allow abortions far after 6 weeks, arguably under the interpretation of some legal scholars, all the way up to the point of birth. He's against that. And that's been
Yes. So this is something that like the media is conflating, right? The media is so badly trying to make Trump a pro-life advocate when Trump is just like, yo, I'm safe, legal, and rare. That's Donald Trump's position. That's Donald Trump's actual position. And in 2016, he talked about how, yo, Roe is just justifying abortion and it doesn't give any room for the other side to enact policies based on their position. That sounds like a bad deal. And that's all Trump wanted to do. He wanted to leave it in a neutral playing field where both sides have a chance to advocate for their position. AKA, you have to persuade the populace into voting. Because Trump's position, and I think I agree with this position, federal bans on abortion should not be a thing. It should be a state-by-state issue. Let the populace decide where they're at, and then you make an issue about it. Because at the end of the day, I know pro-lifers love to compare slavery with abortion, but slavery was left up to the states. There were 7, I think, free states, 13 slave states. And you're saying that abortion should not have, like, make it make sense. In one breath, you're going to say, oh, we abolished slavery. Yeah, but we went to war to do that. People died to get slavery abolished. How many people are willing to die for abortion? Not a lot. I don't think these pro-abortion people, they're not willing to die for their beliefs. I think a lot of pro-lifers are willing to die for their beliefs, right? But it doesn't help pro-lifers when it's left up to the states. The populace is just not ready for the message yet, and they still have more work to do. I think this is the inconvenient truth that pro-lifers don't want to admit, is that they have not persuaded America enough to actually enact an abortion ban. Because like I said, politics is a downstream of culture. And pro-lifers and the advocates, you're fighting for culture. You're fighting in the culture war. And you have to focus on persuasion, not force. And looking at Donald Trump to be so pro-life, oh, we want you to stand strongly for pro-life values when he never really stood for it in the first place. Pro-lifers trying to make this argument that Donald Trump 2016 was saying a different thing than he did in 2020 and 2024. I don't see that. I saw a guy in 2016 that recognized that Roe v. Wade was a bad legal construction, and he wanted it removed. And I think that was the only thing that I don't know. I just think people read into things that are not clearly stated by a candidate instead of just focusing on what they said. They try to interpret what the candidate meant by what he said. And this political vagueness is what I have a problem with, especially with Kamala Harris. I don't understand how you conflate that. So in my view, it looked like the media misrepresented what Trump actually believed, and then now they're attacking based on that imagination of Trump's position. I got to get better at crafting your narratives because it's starting to get ridiculous now. I digress.
A consistent position as well. So I do think this attempt by Democrats and its politics, so you'd expect it, to conflate an opposition to a 6-week ban with somehow being in favor of a ballot measure that actually would allow for far more than that is, I think, sophistry. And the job of voters, I hope they do it, is to see through that, even if it's served up to the media. You can't conflate those two things, and I don't think that's an inconsistency, with all due respect.
Things you also can't conflate is on the issue of, and I've heard this time and again, of accusing, of saying that Democrats and putting this on Kamala Harris is, saying that they're going to be able to, as you mentioned, up to the point of birth or execute a baby after birth. That you do agree that that is illegal in all states.
That is
not an issue.
Is and should be illegal, except for when you look at the vaguely drafted statutes that are now expanding in these ballot measures. And I think that's the debate we ought to be having in this country, is an honest debate at the state level. And where I give Donald Trump a lot of credit, this was my position during the presidential campaign as well, is that this is an issue for the states in a post-Dobbs world.
I agree with that. And I don't understand all the pro-lifers trying to withhold their vote from Donald Trump. Oh, I'm a write-in DeSantis. Oh, he's against pro-life values, when Donald Trump is making a pragmatic choice. Any day pro-lifers, you have nothing to stand on. Like, you guys are doing all these live action. I'm calling it out specifically. You guys do all these events in college campuses, and if you saw, I did a video on this. I put a video on why men are becoming more conservative. The men, you can have a logical argument about abortion because they're away from abortion. It's the women that the pro-lifers need to focus on when it comes to this this debate about abortion. Because end of the day, these women, suburban women, there's data that shows this, majority of them have abortion as their number one issue. That means pro-lifers, y'all need to focus. I'm sorry, look, I'm calling it out. Y'all have not been effective really in the culture war. On actually persuading the populace to your positions. And I think that it needs to be a self-reflection on the pro-lifers to see, okay, what are we doing that's not giving the desired outcome that we want, or not bringing people to the table that we need to have on the table, which is women. Men can have logical debates about abortion because we're not emotionally tied to abortion, so we can have logical debates about abortion. But it's the women that seem like they're very that's like their priority issue, and this is why Kamala's so close. So pro-lifers not voting for Donald Trump is essentially ensuring that Kamala has an advantage when it comes to time for voter turnout. And this is what I'm trying to highlight. This is what people try to highlight to the pro-lifers, that ain't time for purity games right now. You have to make a pragmatic choice. Because pragmatism is what gets you closer to your ideals, not emotional decision making. Because if you look at the trade-offs you're making, not voting for Trump versus voting for Trump, what is more likely to happen if people did what I did? Kamala Harris's win, and the thing I disagree with, which is abortion access, will be codified in the federal government. But Kenny, that can't happen if we have a Senate. Stats has shown that more and more voters are voting down ballot for one party. That's stats. There's gone are the days where someone said, I'm gonna put a Republican president and then I'm gonna do an all down Democrat ticket. That's not likely to happen. In 2024, what's likely to happen is everyone's going down ballot for the party of their political choice they pick. So if someone's voting for Kamala Harris, they're going straight down ballot Democrat. If someone's voting for Donald Trump, they're going straight down ballot Republican. That is more likely. That's the most likely outcome to happen in 2024. And this is the more pragmatic people are trying to tell pro-lifers or these these ideological purity people online, that you're making actions that kind of goes contrary to what you say you're trying to fight against. just because the candidate isn't as pure on the issues as you want him to be. And this is the problem I have with politics. This is why I say I don't think America's ready for an honest politician. Because honestly, I believe Vivek was the most honest politician we had on the stage. And y'all only gave him 8% of the vote, Republican Party. But I understand you wanted a more proven product, Donald Trump. So you got him. But now you want to complain about him. End of the day, Republican Party has spoken, Trump's the nominee. The Republican voters have spoken, Trump's the nominee. Make do what you have. Like, make the most of what you have. But there's no silver bullets here. There's no perfect solutions here. Only trade-offs. So what trade-offs would you rather have? That's the question I have for pro-lifers who disagree with me in the comment section. I'd like to hear, what trade-offs are you willing to have? Someone who's for sure going for abortion or someone who's neutral on abortion? Because that's the actual choice. Anything else is just noise. Oh, Trump's a pro-choice candidate. Okay, but he's not going to do anything federally. It's still up to you to persuade the people of your state to vote for an abortion ban or not. Restrict abortion or not, like we're doing here in Florida. But instead, it seems like pro-lifers want force. They want to use force to push their values on everyone else. And we disagreed when the abortion people do it. Why would I want to agree with you if you're doing the same thing? You're advocating for the same thing. Make it make sense. I think pro-lifers are trying to take the easy way out because they know the harder route is to try to convince the populace on being pro-life. I think that's the challenge that they're trying to run away from by using Trump as a scapegoat for this. This is just my personal thoughts. I digress. Let's finish up the clip.
I think Roe was correctly overturned. I think most Republicans agree on that. This is now an issue for the states. And I know that Democrats want to make this a core issue, but the reality is it's not a presidential issue anymore. It belongs to the states. Kamala Harris has wrongly characterized and wrongfully stated, I think in this case I'd call it an outright lie, saying Donald Trump would sign a federal abortion ban when he's been clear that he's against a federal position on this issue. And I think voters deserve that kind of clarity.
Why is he struggling to?
And that's what they're getting with Trump. And the pro-lifers are trying to act like he's flip-flopping, but no, you're just mad that he's clear that he's not going to push your agenda. He's not going to sign a federal ban on abortion because that's not where the populace is. Trump is a populist. He's not going to go against the will of the people. The will of the people say, hey, we want some abortion access. That's what Trump is going to say. That's why I say Trump, like Republicans, conservatives, or people who call themselves conservatives, whatever, like this is why I'm not a registered Republican. This purity game, I'm more pragmatic than I am idealistic. I'm more realist than I am idealistic. And it seems like these people would rather lose in idealism, right? Oh, look, I stand on my principles, but then you usher in a reality that's even worse than what you left behind. Like, make it make sense. Like you guys are, I don't know. I just see it as a lot of like shifting blame here. I think the pro-lifers are just scared to actually advocate in the culture for what they believe in because they know that's the harder route. The easier route is to complain and try to get a politician to force top-down bureaucracy to force down their values on everyone else. But I digress. But Vivek, good job highlighting the flip-flopping between Kamala Harris and the differences between how what they call Trump for flip-flopping versus what they call Kamala Harris is being called for flip-flopping. You see that it's distinctly different. One is like you don't have any clarity or questions for how Kamala Harris decided to change her position, while with Trump, you understand it at best, the media misinterpreting his position or his actions as an endorsement for something else. They're reading into what he's doing. They're creating a narrative of what he's doing, of flip-flopping. And this is the problem I have with the mainstream media. And they have the goal to say Donald Trump is a lazy campaigner. These people are projecting, but I digress. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Do you agree with Vivek on his synopsis here? Do you like the fact that Vivek called out the attempts at reframing things in Kamala in the Democrats' favor? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.